welcome.
To the book club.
It is episode 11 for all you night owls out there getting down with us. Today, last week, we do last week.
Kid named Cuddy.
Kid named Cuddy. Ended up, for the most part, holding up the test of time. You know, the songs that were good. We also learned that Kid Cudi invented the incel.
Yes.
The first recorded instant of the. We hope he's doing better. Actually, new album came out today. Yeah. We haven't checked it out yet, but he might be getting a little review from us at some point in time, and we'll check it out and see what.
Incel Galactic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's up?
Could you turn it down a bit?
Yeah.
It's distracting me because I could hear. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it's too loud for me.
Right. All right. Now. Okay. With the show, the album's coming out, right?
Incel Galactic, the show, and then the album as well. That dropped tonight. But there are a few other things that dropped tonight as well, right?
There are a few things that dropped tonight, and a new segment we're going to start doing is we're going to go through the brand new songs that dropped tonight, first listens here, or newish songs, because one of them I actually seen was 7 days ago, so it was last week, but still, very new. Some just came out right now, and we're going to give our live reactions with you as we listen to this together, unless you've maybe listened to it. In that case, tell us what you think in the chat as we go through it. But the first song is Nothing Even Matters by Sir. Now, do you happen to kind of know offhand, maybe some context to this? Does he have a new album coming out? Is this on the album or?
So he does have a new album coming out, but I don't think this upcoming album will be on Top Dog Entertainment.
Interesting. What they, and it's kind of learning to accept that a legacy artist like Red Hot Chili Peppers, I would be, I think a lot of listening to music and absorbing music, in my opinion, is the expectation you have going into it, and I think that I'm now, and with a lot of artists in their, past their prime, the prime was legendary, you know what I'm saying? Right. But it's kind of an idea of, all you can do is surprise me. I know that you're too good for it to suck. You know what I'm saying? And anything that I can get that's a pleasant surprise, with something like that had all of the makings of the things that would make just an enjoyable Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Yeah. And I don't ever expect Scar Tissue again. I don't ever expect Under the Bridge again. But if there's ever anything that they do that, now I think they can still make that level of song. And if they do, wow, I can't believe y'all still doing it, at this point in the game. But now I think that's different though than maybe somebody like Sir, whose career is newer, who
still
probably should
himself.
Still be bringing that, heat every time. I think that's the expectation that's different. Kind of what you're saying. I might go listen to Chasing Summer and be like, wow, all of these songs are better than this. That's now my expectation. But I think with Red Hot Chili Peppers, it was good for what I want, what I expect. It's probably something that they're putting out to be able to go on tour with, there's new music to go on with. So shout out to them. I thought it was a cool one.
Speaking of, I believe Flea, the bassist, and Tom York have an album, have a group. Have you checked that album out by chance? I'm not sure what it's called, but it's something I needed to look into. Maybe book club material.
Might be. Yeah.
Flea and Tom York.
Interested. That's for sure. Fun fact: do you remember the cartoon on Nickelodeon, Wild Thornberrys?
The Flea does the bass line for the theme, right?
No, he might do it, but he's actually the voice of Donnie.
Okay, I knew he was involved somehow. Okay, there we go. That's okay.
And I remember I seen a TikTok where it was him in the voice studio doing it. Hilarious! Shout out to Flea. And that's the fun facts you get to the book club, just in case you didn't know.
Donnie.
Now, the fourth song that we have.
Oh, we got an OG.
We got an OG here. It's old school meets new school, right? It's a remix song. This is something that we just seen. We hadn't listened to it yet. We're gonna get the live listen with you guys. Remix song featuring the old school of
Snoop.
Uncle Snoop, Double G, Snoop Doggy
with the
Dogg,
new school of John Champagne.
John Champagne.
John Champagne.
Now they made a song called shoot, I don't even have it on there. It's called if it ain't country, if she ain't country.
If she ain't country,
If She
I ain't
Ain't
effing with
Country.
it.
Remix with Snoop. We haven't heard the original. We haven't even heard this one. So here it is, Snoop Doggy Dogg on the remix of John Champagne's "If She Ain't Country."
If she
Live
ain't
listen.
country.
Let's go.
You better get up on this truck.
Oof.
It's a country boy living here, baby. Now, yeah.
Roll the dice anytime I feel lucky. Scared money don't make no money. Yeah, she give me a playboy bunny, but I don't want her if she ain't country. I love a southern accent. I love a girl that thinks a truck is full of mud attractive. I need a girl that's got a jump just to fit her ass in. Every pair of those jeans, baby. They say I'm picky, I just know what I deserve now. I played with fire in the past, now I'm burned down. I couldn't settle just with any kind of girl now. I wanna settle down, I doubt I'll never learn out. Roll the dice anytime I feel lucky. Scared money don't make no money. Yeah, she give me a playboy bunny, but I don't want her if she ain't country. At the bar with a nice little honey. Country swag can't take that from me. Another round cause I got a little money. I don't want her if she ain't country.
I like a girl in some denim and some cowboy boots. Grill steaks and roll joints like cowboys do. Little frame with a booty, you can't help but slap. Ride or die chick, but we gon' need a dually for that. I like a southern accent with a pretty smile. For a blonde or brunette, I ride 1,000,000 miles. I like a Nashville bred with curves like Dill's Gaps. Hit it 11 miles strong with baby on my lap. I'm sipping on Tennessee whiskey. NFTs all in my face and she's frisky. Rubbing on the dog, let me give her the bone. Found out she had a twin, now I'm in love with a clone. Boiled up her legs with a fresh tan. I'm trying to figure out how the hell she getting those pants. If it's mud on the turf, she come out the hills just to get a quick taste of that cowgirl feel. Now giddy up.
Roll the dice anytime I feel lucky. Scared money don't make no money. Yeah, she give me a playboy bunny, but I don't want her if she ain't country. At the bar with a nice little honey. Country swag can't take that from me. Another round cause I got a little money. I don't want her if she ain't country. Roll the dice anytime I feel lucky. Scared money don't make no money. Yeah, she give me a playboy bunny, but I don't want her if she ain't country.
That was John Champagne and Snoop Dogg.
So Snoop says, I found out she had a twin. Now I'm in love with her clone. Will somebody explain to Snoop that twins are not clones? Or maybe he's just making two different points. He found out she had a twin. Cool, fun fact. But on the side note, she also has a clone. And that's the one he's really in love with.
You know, when you look at it that way, it plays out more like a
Blade Runner-esque
Right, like a
sci-fi love
cyberpunk
triangle.
Shakespeare
yeah.
type
There's
of-
three of them. Her,
Right,
her
that's what
twin,
they
and her
didn't catch.
clone.
Just letting you guys know, it was her,
Her twin.
and he loves him with the country accent. So let's say she's from Georgia,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
She has a twin, right? However, this family, right, has close ties with some black ops CIA type of experimentation.
Yep.
They have a clone. What Snoop didn't realize is he actually fell in love with the clone.
clone.
Now they're all twins. They look
Yeah.
like each other. So
Right,
he's
right.
not always never really sure who is who.
Yeah.
But he knows the one he fell in love with,
is
and
the
that's how
clone.
he knows which one it is.
The ending
right?
is actually tragic. It's, Snoop trying to figure out which one is the real one, makes the wrong decision. The real one dies in the process for whatever reason.
Right.
Things like that, yeah.
That's definitely. I had read that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how
I
true
love the
story that Snoop
cyberpunk
came to,
Romeo
yeah.
and Juliet.
Masterful writing by Snoop. And you know what? I'm just
Amazing.
gonna go out and say, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it.
I thought it's unique. It's funny because we had these three great songs by these other artists, but none of them were as unique as this shit was.
No, right.
He brought that oomph.
It was three artists who are great at their craft, yet John Champagne.
He's
Now,
like, I got something different.
I will say, so when we had chose this song, right, and you had kind of touched it and it played a little bit and stopped it, right. I will say there, I did not foresee what ended up happening. It sneaks up on you. First 5 songs, you think you know where it's going. Obviously, you maybe have an idea because Snoop Dogg is on it, right? But when it picks up, and it almost felt like a Migos hook, but then even when she was a Playboy bunny, it hits the country though, and this is kind of just a interesting side note for me, right? I feel like something like trap that's just kind of been around for so long. There's like, we kind of covered the origins when we did the Jeezy, because it's been around for so long, and people are still making it, right? It really doesn't. I think that's what happened with like the last Migos album is it didn't really excite me because it just feels like this is just trap, right? It's just the trap album. Don't really turn to it too often. But when things get like this, if you can do something different inside of that genre, whatever it be, whether it be like, punk rock at a certain point or like, just different kind of genres. If you could do something that's just different, I'm in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do much and like just like the country. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes you can tell when Snoop is in like now and he's doing a feature. Sometimes you can tell now when he's kind of mailing it in. And there's like certain beats people give Snoop so he can mail it in. But the beat was up tempo, and I haven't heard Snoop on an up tempo verse in a while.
That's a good point.
He actually pulled out like the Snoop's like he can still keep up.
I still think he gave them a mail away up tempo verse in this case.
Fair,
but at least he stuck to the theme. He made a lot of Southern references from Nashville to another thing. Was there a part where one of them said, "I have NFTs all in my face"?
Yeah, it was Snoop.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know.
But he did have NFTs all on my face. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Now, though, I think that while you may say that it felt mailed in, right, he also gave us a little insight that cloning's out there and he's at his own running with it. So, I would just say I think that it was maybe more than meets the eye there. Yeah. He was letting us in a little bit. Thank you, Snoop. We caught it. We just making sure.
We hear you, Snoop.
All right, we hear it.
We'll keep it on the low.
That was our 4 songs.
What was your favorite one out of the 4? What was your favorite one out of the 4?
Let us know what your favorite one of the 4. And once again, it was Nothing Even Matters by Sir. If you're a Sir fan, maybe check it out. If you haven't really listened to a lot of Sir, maybe go back to Sir. If you'd like. I think what my favorite, honestly, was the Quinn Quinn 92 with Big Sean. I think it just kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't sure what kind of song it would be. I wasn't familiar with the artist. Right. We had the new Eddie by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then of course, If She Ain't Country
by John Champagne featuring Snoop.
Let us know in the chat what your favorite one is.
Yeah.
Mine in particular would probably be the Quinn 92, and then just something about the If She Ain't Country that is kind of cool to me. What about you?
Eddie probably. Yeah.
Eddie was a good one.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I think it was really chill, and I'm somewhat looking forward to the new album. Like, if it's a slower week, I'll definitely prioritize it. And I know this sounds hella trashy and snobby, if it's No, but to be fair, exactly. There's a lot of content out every week, and sometimes you don't even get around to your favorite artists, people that you would have literally walked to, Media Play or Best Buy or wherever warehouse records to in the past. Nowadays they could drop something, you could access it right then and there, and you don't care to any longer.
I think
but it goes back to the whole thing we discussed with legacy artists, etc. Some of these artists do have that legacy factor to it, where it's not going to be, as you said, what they put out during their prime, but it'll still be good. But sometimes no, I think the artist just goes into relevancy, i.e. a 50 Cent. Right. Like, I was out there for Get Rich or Die Trying when on that Tuesday, because music used to come out on Tuesdays, that the Massacre dropped. Like, I went to Media Play. I don't even think I drove back then. I probably took like bus 66 in Milpitas and got my
Right.
ass to Milpitas or the Great Mall. But now if like he drops something, I'm not gonna listen to a 50 Cent album. So
Completely
in this
agree.
case with Red Hot, yeah, based on this, I would, yeah.
It's definitely enough to where,
Especially because it gives you
still-
vibes that you could just play in the background at your
Right.
house. Yeah.
Right. No, that's a really good point. And I think that for a band like this, it's just enough to make me interested in the album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what I expect. It's kind of like if you guys are gonna give us this, I'm in.
Yeah,
You know, like
I
I
agree.
think you're right. I think just in a background type of music, you know, just a kind of side note right here. You know, that was our four. We'll see the segment next week as well.
Yeah.
What are you listening to in the background nowadays?
Just probably the JID album a bit. I am playing. I know it's gonna sound funny, but just the 2-track run of Honestly Nevermind from Sticky to Massive,
I do that too.
and then I
Yeah,
just kind of let it stop from there. Little things like that. Just still a bunch of Project Baby 2 by Kodak Black. A lot of older stuff, and on my drive home tonight, I'm gonna be bumping Intergalactic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
just because I'm curious to check that out. I've been reading ahead. Reviews are not sounding good, but I know what to. It goes back to expectations, as you pointed out. And with this, I'm not expecting like Man on the Moon,
Right.
or a Kid Named Cudi or something. I think it should be just a spacey, vibey album that, a la Red Hot, I could probably even throw in the background and be good
Right,
and
right,
get
right,
the whole
right.
thing out of that. You
Absolutely. And, you know, maybe we'll do a sometime this weekend. Do a quick review that you have of it.
Sure,
We'll give it a
yeah.
listen, definitely.
What about you? What are you playing?
So right now, so I spent the better part of like almost a year, just about a year, really just listening to Timo's cocktail playlist. Right.
Oh, yeah.
He's always adding to it. He's always bringing new stuff to it. He'll send me new playlists if he's in there. Shout out to
Shout
Timo
outs
for
to
that.
Timo.
Appreciate that. But and if not that, usually I'm listening to Sarah might play like Afrobeat. So like a new album comes out. So the Burna Boy album was getting a lot of spin for a while. But you know, if we're talking about like just recent, like past month or so, I actually had the Beyonce album in the background.
Okay, nice. I need to listen to that as well.
It was really interesting, and you know, I think that like a Beyonce album is usually an album I'm gonna chalk up to. It's not for me. Like it wasn't made with me in mind. It's not gonna be content that I'm gonna necessarily engage with. I might give it a listen or whatever. But this was actually a interesting album, an interesting decision to make for an artist of her stature to kind of just change up her sound a bit. And then I'll do the 2-song Sticky Massive.
Yeah.
I won't really get outside of that though. Honestly, never mind.
Neither do I. Jimmy Cooks is good, and I wish it was sandwiched somewhere in between those tracks. But at once, Massive's done, I'm not skipping hella tracks.
It's
just
not good enough to get
all the way to
right
Jimmy Cooks.
Exactly.
21 goes off on that track though.
You know actually what it feels like when I listen to those two? I get there, Sticky's really good. I get to
Yeah.
Massive, and then I'm like, honestly, never mind.
You start clicking towards Jimmy Cooks, but halfway there, you're like, honestly, never mind. Do you like Tex Go Green?
You know, at this point, couldn't even tell you what song that is.
Yeah,
I
Like, I know it by name because as I'm trying to get to Sticky, I see it as I'm trying to get to Sticky.
I think there. I listened to the album a few times when it came out.
Sure.
There were some. It's not awful. You know, like it's just I'm not going back to it. I'm just not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm staying with
I
those
don't think-
two songs. But if it came on, like if you played it, I would be like, oh, it's that song. Like I
Yeah.
can recognize the sound a little bit. But
Yeah, I agree.
I
It's
think
not
that's
awful. It's
That's a good update to get every week. But that brings us into our album of the week. And this time we picked a fan favorite that we've seen and that was in the chat frequently. One of my favorite mixtapes from that era. Maybe one of the best mixtapes in general from that era.
yeah.
It is Kush and OJ, Wiz Khalifa. So as we do usually, well, actually, we're going to switch up the format with this one up a little bit too. We grouped together some of our favorite songs into some categories that we're going to be going through. And before we actually get into Kush and OJ, got any kind of like just background information that you had to came across?
Not much. He released this soon after Deal or No Deal, which was
Right.
his second album, but at that point it still wasn't a major album.
Right,
He
right.
had dropped Show and Prove independently, and Deal or No Deal I think had distribution by something like a E1 or a Koch record or something minor.
Right.
A couple years later, he would go on to drop Rolling Papers, and I think that was Atlantic. I forgot what it was.
was Atlantic,
It
that's
was
right, that's
Atlantic.
right,
Okay. So he had dropped Deal or No Deal, and then after this, he would go on to drop Cabin Fever, which is another great mixtape. So
Lex
that's
Luger.
yeah.
Right.
Oh
Another
yeah.
trap legend.
Yeah, that's the good call. And nothing beyond that. We discussed the cover where he kind of photoshopped himself. And who'd you mention that the cover was a homage to?
Yes, it was David Ruffin. David
Okay.
Ruffin's last album, actually. It's hilariously
Oh, man,
photoshopped.
so good.
And you know,
So good.
I think that and that might be something we do on TikTok too. Is all the albums we do give like a little breakdown of their cover, what we think of
Yeah.
it. But as a little preview to that, I think that it shows a playfulness in Wiz to not take it too serious,
Serious,
and not in a way that the music sucks or it's like in a little dicky, don't take it too serious,
Yeah.
but just it's gonna be light. You know what I'm saying? The expectations aren't to hear Wiz Khalifa's deepest, darkest secrets.
Right.
Whereas, you know, just to kind of ping pong a little bit off that, I think if you were to look at the Lost and Found Will Smith album cover, you would feel this might be an album for your deepest, darkest secrets,
Yeah.
or just how you kind of really feel inside.
Is that the Crossroads?
Hollywood,
What-
West Philly.
Oh my God.
Head down.
Which
B-boy
one?
stand.
Which one? Which one? Which one?
We will start off with the intro. This is Wake and Bacon by Sledgerin.
Sledgerin produced it.
A popular Taylor Gang. Who was that? The label that had like Mac Miller too.
Rostrum Records.
Rostrum Records,
Based
yeah.
out of Pittsburgh, I believe, yeah. Interesting, because speaking of Sledgerin, goes back to producers that... but we'll get to that, actually. Yeah,
We'll
get to
This is
that.
the intro. This is Kush and
Let's
OJ,
go.
episode 11, the book club. That's the intro. Thoughts?
Great intro. Gives you a taste of what the rest of the mixtape will be like. I always liked Wiz's singing. I understand he may not have the best voice, but to me, sometimes that doesn't matter. It's just how you deliver things, you know. A la Cuddy. I don't know. I'm not much of a expert on what a good voice is, but I never thought Cuddy had the best voice either. But I love his singing compared to most other artists. So I think it was just everything was perfect. It's brief, sweet, great intro. Funny title though, Awaken Bacon, but it is what it is. It goes
Hey,
back
man.
to keeping that, keeping things light.
Right. I enjoy it. I think that it sets the tone for what you're going to be hearing for the rest of the album, the tone you're going to get in the rest of the album. I mean, he kind of lays out the content for you, kind of like as a first chapter into this.
Right.
And, you know, to your point, I feel like this was a really interesting time in hip hop in a sense of, think about early rock music, right? Some of the best bands were like Led Zeppelin, and it was like that Robert Plant voice. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a great singing voice, and a lot of like the best bands had good singing voices, right? I think eventually it kind of got to a point where you didn't need to necessarily sing the best, but if it worked, it worked. If it worked with all of the music, you know, do I think like Axl Rose is like a great vocalist? Maybe in his own way, but it's more so of like, you know, Tom York is able to get the idea across. You know, Kurt Cobain was able to just get the idea across. You know, you'll still get good singers, you know, but I think that if you know how to make it work, it works. And hip hop had kind of hit this point to where you hadn't really seen a lot of singers. I think 808s had came out, The Love Below had came out, but now that singing idea was kind of spreading in a way that Kid Cudi sang differently than Drake, that sang differently than Wiz, and they all existed in a sense of it. You know, it's not the best singing voice, but it works in the context of the song. And like you, I've always liked Wiz's singing voice. Like it always made me feel like a 90s, you know, LA band, you know what I'm saying, type of how they would kind of do it.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I think it definitely sets a tone, like we said. Now, as we said, we're going to break the album into some categories. Now, this first category, and it kind of comes right off the top, is that was produced by Sledgen, which was a in-house producer for Rostrum. So we picked a few of the best songs that have some of the best samples on it. And the first one that we have is Mesmerized. Now, Mesmerized is produced by Sledgen?
Cardo, actually.
Cardo, okay.
Cardo got wings. So, I'm not sure, but this is one of the earliest instances I could think of for Cardo's production. Actually, double checking here. Production discography. Oh, yeah. His production discography begins in 2013, and this being 2010 would have to... Okay, it's not even by year. This being 2010 would have to be one of his earliest works, I'd imagine. I think it's a great beat for Mesmerized, and I think we can just get into it and discuss it a bit further.
Hop right in. This is Mesmerized.
Sean Khalifa, man. Paper plane gang. I'm a one young. Hey, shout out to my brother Spitter, man. I just wanted to say that. And your bitch can see this shit from across the street, nigga. It's pimpin' over here. Macaroni. Kush and oranges, nigga. What up, Chevy? Germ, I see you. Cardo on the beat. I don't love them, I don't chase them, I duck them. Smoke something, go to a new state soon as I fuck them. Niggas be pressed for pussy, it ain't nothing. Instead of worrying about who that bitch fucking, why don't you get you some money? 9 times out of 10, she see me stunting. Game running, wanna know my hotel and who phone the ring when she coming. I keep it 100. Get love from the hoes, but it's money over bitches, nothing above it. Like the weed, loud like my engine when I speed up. Bitches holding their weed, rolling trees with their pretty feet up. Them suckers often imitate, but they can't beat us. So super high, look in the sky when you won't see me, bruh. Cut my speakers up, drowning out what the critics say. Just continue to smoke and remain G as fuck. Polo socks match my polo hat. She leave once, it's a known fact. And she ain't coming back. Now Taylor gang that shit changed. But the amount of horses in my motor when I switch lanes. And I beat them blind with the diamonds in my big chain. Heavy in the game, lil' homie, I'm doing big things. they recognize I keep it so G. I keep it so G. Get you some money fucking with me. Yeah. I don't love them, I don't chase them, I duck them. Try to get paper out of fucker, don't know shit about her. I take you up where it's cloudy. Ain't one of them like.
What's your thoughts on this?
I like the G-Funk influence that the beat has by
Absolutely.
Cardo. Even lyrically, I mean, in retrospect, just a lot of the lyrics and terminology that Wiz dropped was just so heavily West Coast influenced and such. I mean, to begin with, I think he mentions being heavy in the game. I think that's something that E40 might have coined. I don't even know, but I swear, heavy in the game, something out of E40's vocabulary. I was reading up on Cardo a bit further as well, and it looks like he got his start producing tracks for Chevy Woods and Mac Miller.
Chevy Woods, okay.
Kev the Hustler.
Hey,
Gotta get Kev the Hustler on
Kev
the
the
book
Hustler,
club.
need you on the book club. Oh man,
What was it
wow.
like working with a young Cardo? But he goes on to be to sign to Taylor Gang as well soon after. So great production, great lyrics, a great hook by Wiz, classic Wiz hook at that. Whereas,
Right.
What you would have expected around this time. What'd you think?
I think that there's and it always seems to be a popular theme on this show. I think there's a connection to that LA, but not from LA, and not actually G-Funk, but G-Funk
Yeah.
influenced of a sound that I think that Fairfax rap kind of coined, but it never felt like, oh, this is Cardo trying to sound like the West Coast and
Right.
fit into that. It was more so like, because I do now remember shortly after this, it was a Dom Kennedy song from the West Side with Love that Cardo did.
Okay,
Right.
wow.
And it had similar feelings, but it fit. Like it fit just kind of that new LA, new Fairfax mixtape blog rap kind of sound.
Yeah.
And I think because of the direction Wiz ended up going in, further in his career, we kind of can forget that he was right there with like the Big Seans and Nesby Phipps and all of them, the Dom Kennedys, the cool kids that were part of that sound. And it made me think as I was listening to Wiz, like his version of this, and I think what a way that can be described as a whole, that kind of subgenre, is the first time maybe in a long time, maybe ever, that we've seen lifestyle rap. Right?
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
To where everything is kind of lifestyle rap if you think about it in that form, but it wasn't like the lifestyle rap from like NWA, like Eazy-E is a different lifestyle than like Biggie. This was more so like it made you feel cool because it made you feel like you could be Wiz, you could be Big Sean or whoever was kind of in that. And I think that a lot of that
How much of that do you think was Currency's influence?
Considering
They had done How Fly before.
Right.
Wiz kind of had a different sound because he had been putting out mixtapes, long prior to this. If you look at his Show and Prove album cover, he's wearing like a 3XL shirt where it's coming down. It looks like a damn easy Gap and no seam tee and shit on him.
Right.
And, he was a bit more on that, gangster rap tip. More so than he was now. So I do want one of the original two people that I do think of for lifestyle rap would be Currency and Wiz, and I think How Fly and some of the earlier Currency work there really set the precedent for that.
I agree. I think it definitely that was kind of like the core of that kind of sound. And when you heard, like, let's say Chip the Ripper do his version of lifestyle rap, it was a Cleveland version. When you heard Dom Kennedy do a Cool Kids, it was a Chicago version. But I definitely think like that if you wanted to show somebody like a song of this is what music in that time, like hip hop, this represented it very clearly. I would say something like Breakfast would be something I would like show. Like this is kind of what the content was like. It was kind of like, and if you wanted a more West Coast feel, if you wanted a more of like a, I guess what Wiz, like a East Coast, there was different versions of that in Pilot Talk was its own southern kind of
absolutely.
or not necessarily but Jets,
Yeah.
right. But that's an interesting observation on that there. That I think definitely Wiz and Currency, and I feel like we get Currency in so many moments. He was on the Big Sean album.
Yeah.
We're catching him in places that one of these days I think we're gonna get a Currency
Absolutely,
like Pilot Talk.
yeah.
Maybe a
Pilot
mixtape
Talk would
or
be the
something.
one.
Good sledgehammer beat though.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
off the bit, and it's not. Not only that, but I feel like the Wiz sound is kind of forming here. Just off of these two songs. What we now know, because I think what you were saying too with Deal or No Deal and
Show and Prove.
Show and Prove.
Yeah.
This is a big departure from that, and I think we had gotten was How Fly before this or after?
Half Lies before, so even Deal or No Deal, he kind of established it. I think it was somewhere around Flight School. I think maybe Flight School might have been the very first mixtape that he dropped that kind of had that
Right.
feel as well. I think Say Yeah was off Flight School, right? I think that kind of marked that moment where it's no longer 3XL fitted cap Wiz, although it's still fitted caps, but it's no longer just a generic team. Now it's a fucking 10 deep fitted hat,
Right.
And
Right.
the material changes.
This definitely felt like the culmination of something
Yeah.
coming, especially with How Fly. It was
Right.
influenced, but I think you're onto something there. Next song we have right here is The Statement. The
Yep.
Statement is produced by
VVS Sound.
BVS Sound. That's not The Statement. Is it? I feel like I have these songs wrong. What do we have? I feel like I'm missing something now.
I think we were on The Statement.
Was it The Statement? Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm mistripping. This is The Statement. And here we go.
Yeah. What haven't we? You know the planes and the Taylor gang and the fast cars with bad broads in them. I proceed to smoke these trees and stuff piles of cheese in my 501 denim. Where they bullshit begins, I end them.
I just want to say that now we have to take into consideration a few things, right? We have to break down some of the physics here. Now, 501s are a specific fit of Levi jeans, right? Specific cut that they have, right? Now, I'm sure you've seen, as I've seen, a pound of weed, right? It's when you hear pound, maybe you expect it to be smaller, but when you see a pound of weed, it's like, okay, that's a pound of weed. Now, although it is in weight only a pound,
And
in volume, it's quite big.
yeah.
Now, do you think this was? Now he said he stuffed it, so I will kind of so it's not something that just kind of it fit my pocket, but. Do you think it was like used all of every pocket and then maybe kind of just threw some inside, literally stuffed in like the waistband?
So
do you think?
So 501s are 5 pocket jeans, 2 in the back, 2 up front, and then a little coin pocket here.
Correct.
I think that little coin pocket basically helped store all the weed there.
Got it.
I would have questioned it more if it wasn't a 5 pocket and didn't have that additional slot. But knowing that his 501s do, it's like, you just put them all in individual slots. I think they all just fit in each pocket.
Like it was just
especially
like
that
this,
little coin pocket, though, is very important.
Right. He was able to disperse.
He didn't need to shove it down anything. Or
If you think about the coin pocket too, it doesn't take up space of the right pocket.
It's a pocket in a
Two
pocket.
volumes that you get inside of that. So that makes sense.
If
This
it
is
didn't
really good.
though, but
That sounds
I
right.
don't know.
That sounds
yeah.
about right. There's the 5th pocket that
This-
exists in there.
this
But
helps.
also a feat because he didn't have to do it with cargo pants. He did it with 501. So shout out to Wiz.
Yeah, he would really appreciate the new Yeezy cargo pants though, with the additional pockets on
He
the
get
side.
like a couple pounds in there.
Dude,
Yeah,
he
get
really
like
can't. I'm not
a
even
few
joking
pounds,
about
right?
that. Shit has some deep ass.
He's getting like a few pounds off on that.
And no, I don't hear these niggas tripping, closing the cabin door and revving up on my engines. The weed is rolled, the drink is cold. It's new to you, to me it's old. CEO, these Off-brand niggas ain't really the future. Miss Cleo, how when I approach, been known to leave weed crumbs and trails of sour D smoke. The irony of suckers who predicted the planes landing, now they wanna fly with me. I just let it boost my confidence. Roll another joint, drop pilot shit. Okay.
This ain't the life that we chose, but it's the life that we live in. Know we belong on the top, but we ain't tripping, cause we'll get there in a minute. Yeah, we'll get there in a minute, cause we'll get there in a minute. Know we belong on the top, but we ain't tripping, cause we'll get there in a minute.
That's what you were referring to. I guess, is it an interpolation?
Yeah, it'd be interpolation. And that's a Currency song, right?
Life Under the Scope.
Life Under the Scope, that's right. Which I guess that means that Pilot Talk preceded this?
Pilot Talk was 2010 as well. This was 2010. Maybe Life Under the Scope as a single
right.
preceded.
Because that was a part of like the Dame Dash, like
DD 172.
Right. I've always liked this one. I've always thought that this was really cool, unique production, and I felt like, because this is early on in the album, if I'm not mistaken, and I feel like it kind of solidified of like, oh, Wiz is in a unique sound all in his own.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at the producer. I guess his or her name is VVS Sound. Unfortunately, I can't even click into it to read up more on this person's wiki, but great production. Again, very West Coast influenced as well. I think it's just the flutes that kind of give me that vibe for West Coast. I'm thinking of the Bad Intentions beat produced by Mahogany with Dr. Dre and Nocturnal. Great lyrics. And I love that at this time, both him and Currency would reuse hooks and lines from each other or others within their camp.
Right.
And kind of like put their own spin on it. Statement's a great one, a great title.
Right. No, absolutely. I think really good hook once again. Yeah. We got some good hooks going.
And then as far as the beat series goes, I believe still Blazin' is the third one.
No, actually the beat series was, we actually went out of order. I messed that up. The Statement was in the second section. The Kid Frankie was a part of the beat section.
I thought we're doing Kid Frankie Never Been and in the cut for the sample section.
I thought that was a weed reference section. It's okay. We're still ironing out the kinks on this. How about this? Because it's Wiz.
It's
right.
Freaking Wiz.
We'll go with the producers as we're going, but we're going to find in the next 4 songs, however many songs, the best weed reference. The best one that he has, our favorite. Now, the Kid Frankie is produced by who?
Big Germ.
Big Germ.
Who does have his own wiki page. Oh, he now goes by ID. No, ID Labs is.
Was he a part of ID Labs?
He is, yes. Is that based out of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, because I believe Big Germ did some Mac Miller stuff.
It makes sense. Yeah, Big Germ, Sledgren, those guys were all out there. Okay, cool. So that Pittsburgh sound, yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're kind of like we're forming their own sound. And what I appreciate, I guess, too, because there will be some Chevy Wood songs that would have this sound.
Right.
I do appreciate that the Mac Miller songs was kind of its own Pittsburgh sound.
Right, absolutely was. Very unique.
This one is a crowd favorite. This one is The Kid Frankie. Let's go. And we're looking for our favorite weed reference here.
Yeah. I live life sucker free. That's why the niggas you be with talk down like they don't fuck with me. I get money realistically, and the homies show me love. Groupies wanna lead a club with me. Ain't nothing to a G. Let your hair blow in the breeze, want some bomb ass weed. Get high, cruise at a jet speed. Do it like I do it for TV. 675 Damier LVs, 7 something with tax. And when I'm on the plane, got to carry on the match. Nigga, that's flash shit. Tryna peep game, lil homie, just watch this. Champagne in my cockpit, talking about you got a man, mommy, just stop it, please. As we proceed to give you what you need to roll up on weed. I'm out here living it, Niggas know that we doing our thing, cause we out here getting it, Boy, I rep the gang. Nothing
change. Still rep the game. Okay.
Self-made, been through what I've been through. So I know what I know. I write bomb rap songs telling bitches what I'm into. So the hoes won't roll. First class road to another coast just to smoke Kush. I know a nigga who grows. And that's on the real, mama. If you tryna slide, gotta bring one for Will. Just another day in the life, another plane, another night. Getting faded with another nigga wife. Drinking hella champagne, saying a rave with the Sprite. Then I'm up in the AM to catch another flight. Niggas repping the gang simply because everything else lame. The fans want real niggas, them hoes looking for change. I seen it all, player in the game. First they biting the flow, now they jacking off. Slang.
I'm out here living it. Niggas know that we doing our thing 'cause we out here getting.
What's your thoughts on the Kid Frankie?
Great song, great sample. Sounds like something DJ Quick would have produced, you know?
Right.
Straight out of the West Coast. The hook is great, and you know, it's something that we all used to bump with Timo back in the days constantly. It's a classic, and it's a Wu classic as well.
I would go on record to saying that I think this is, and I'm not like putting it in a particular order or anything, but I think that this is one of the best songs in hip hop history. Now, not ranking it into like, well, this is like with the pet, but just
it falls between
just...
Can't Knock the Hustle and Halftime by Nas.
right. You know, but just the way of like, there's, remember
really
we're talking
good
about Day and Night,
Yeah.
and we're like, you know, sometimes everything just kind of comes together, and it just all it makes sense, and it's like, could
timing.
Wiz ever top this? Maybe not, but that's not something against Wiz per se. It's just the sample's perfect, the beat is amazing, it's unique to hip hop at the time. You know, nobody, and I had never kind of tied that, but definitely, you know, going along with the idea that this Pittsburgh sound, this ID Lab sound, was influenced by that kind of early 90s West Coast. It's not that, you know, when you think a producer trying to make a West Coast sound, you're going to go directly to like the way that Dre would like chop up a sample, or like his drums, or like, but this is a DJ Quick way, which is a way I always was fond of. You know, like it's like that kind of West Coast hip hop. You could even say like the way he's rapping, the content in the rap is DJ Quick without like the gang banging references, but again, like that kind of just that fly shit, you know, that lifestyle, you know, hopping on planes, champagne, you know, weed, you know, groupies after the show, like just like a kind of hip hop I think we were missing at that time, you know, like everything had just got out of being hard, you know, everything got out of being like, you know, the southern trap, you know, East Coast type of, and it was breath of fresh air, I think, to hip hop at the time.
I agree, and it also, you know, speaking of perfect timing, I think the timing was perfect for us as well, because as this was occurring is when we were all also becoming young adults and kind of getting out of that mentality that like, oh, you know, gang banging rap is the coolest type of rap there is, and if it's not about that, then it's soft. You know, it's like we were in a sense already being groomed by Kanye via College Dropout, etc., that something softer is acceptable. Then let alone now we're at like, you know, 17, 18, 19, 20, and this whole different subgenre of the Fairfax rap comes in, and it's perfect just because again, this genre I don't think would have worked out as well for us had it been this day and age, you know, the age we are now. We would have looked back at it like a sort of how we probably look back at, you know, cloud rap or whatever the fuck is hot these days.
Right. And you know, an interesting thing before we get into the next song, this kind of came out for us like in that like perfect timing of like, you know, first couple years in college, like all this music is coming out at the time when we kind of have more time to consume music, and
we were more independent than before.
Now comparatively, maybe I had a coworker that was maybe about 5-6 years younger than me, right, and he would actually like put me on. So like, you know, I never really continued to follow Wiz, too far
Sure.
into his career. But for him, like he actually put me on to some of like the album Khalifa. Like some of these albums were like pretty good. Like
Okay.
they're not bad, but he kind of kept listening to it. When I thought about it, it's like, for us, Kush and OJ came at a certain time. For him, he was like a freshman in high school. So he kind of grew literally with Wiz as he
Yeah.
kind of kept going. So, to think Kush and OJ was so big and so impactful that, for us, it was like, oh, this is an important mixtape. But for somebody who's maybe a freshman in high school at that very exact time, that's also like, this kind of spanned, a bit
Right.
larger than that. And you had people, what was the Taylor Gang? So it was like
Yeah.
Chuck Taylor's, like it was the last time that Chucks had came back,
Yeah.
into fashion. It was like camo shorts, I think that when you're at that
Right.
age in like high school, you tend to go, you lean a lot into like how my favorite rapper artist is dressing.
Right, yeah.
And you've seen that. So I can see how the influence kind of just, spanned like a lot further.
That's another good point you made. Like to them, maybe a Wiz Khalifa is like a, I don't know, like say Eric B and Rakim. I remember in around 2003, 2004 when Oh My God was supposed to drop by Rakim on Aftermath Entertainment.
Right.
I was super excited for that, and I would, if it had dropped, I would have copped it and listened to the whole shebang. But this was a rapper whose last hot album was like 2 decades ago, or a decade ago at that time, because
Right.
1988. So I maybe to these guys like that Wiz is that legend that no matter what they drop, they'll constantly check.
Right.
Whereas for us, since we had already matured, certain artists don't get that same level of respect that I'm gonna ride with you indefinitely. Like
Right.
you're not Tribe. When Tribe dropped their new album, I went and checked that shit out just because I had been when I was younger.
Right.
But if like say a Rick Ross does, I'm not.
Right.
Just because I don't care about Rick Ross today,
It's definitely like it's timing. It's a bit of
What you grew up with.
right, and
Yeah.
that's the number one thing I think here
That
is-
coworker's probably gonna check out Wiz music for a long time
right,
to come. Yeah.
and at least give it a listen. And,
Yeah.
the new Wiz album came out, and I actually gave it a listen, and it wasn't
That's
half
how you said
bad.
you liked it, right?
Yeah. I liked it, and I hit him up, and he was like, "Yeah, I went through it. It's he's gonna have a more astute."
Sure.
Opinion on Wiz than maybe I am. I might be like, oh wow, he's kind of like made some cool music. He's like, well, the last 2 albums he had this sound and it kind of went to this, but still he, and I listened to it the day it came out, hit him up, and he already had listened to it. So the same if like Donda 2, Donda 3 comes out, we'll listen to it, off the strength and see what's going on. So I just thought that was interesting, and I think what we kind of find on the book club is these artists that were kind of like, oh, we're just kind of reminiscing on listening to that album mix that we haven't heard in a while, maybe we do need to be putting Wiz up in a higher, stature, outside of just like the talent, the skill that we perceive, but more so to be in the game and still be popular enough and to have, landmark projects to where somebody who was 13, 14 is going to kind of at least check in forever,
I agree. I mean, of course, I respect him, but I don't know if he has anything for me these days. An artist like, like a Cudi or a Big Sean or even a Drake. I know, like, whenever they drop new albums, I'll check it out. i.e. Intergalactic or Honestly Nevermind or Detroit 2, etc. And I know I'll find something that I'll really like, and I think maybe because in my perception, and it's wrong, it's bias. In my perception, these artists have grown as well to a certain extent. Their sound
Right.
may not be as good. It may not be what it was when they were in their prime, as we discussed, but they've grown. Whereas with Wiz, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure I'm absolutely wrong. I just still see it as that 2010 mentality Wiz, but in 2022.
Right.
Is that fair? Has the sound changed a lot?
I wouldn't say the sound has really changed a lot. I wouldn't say the content has really changed a lot. I
Okay.
think that for me, it's expectation.
Right, yeah. It goes back to that.
Right. Like, I know at this point, Wiz is going to be our generation Snoop. And in the same way that I'm not going to listen to a Snoop with the expectation, whether it be feature verse, album, whatever. with the expectation of Snoop, since we were young, has been making the same thing. So he's now got to be in his 50s, and he's still kind of giving us 25-year-old Snoop. So I mean,
I know that's so true.
It's I haven't gone back to the new Wiz album. It was more like a pleasant surprise of like, oh, it's not too bad. But I do agree. I think the ones that tend to stick a little differently, I think, are going to, as they grow with you, you want to see your trials and tribulations represented from your favorite artists as they're kind of going through things. So the things that, like a Big Sean, when he was 21, when he was 22, the music he's making now is going to be, well, my problems are older problems, or my wins are older wins and mature wins,
Great point to put it.
And I think that's when you have to eventually make that decision of, am I trying to capture new fans, or am I trying to feed the fans that I currently have? I think that you get rare cases of like a Kanye that is
able to do both.
Right. So it blows my mind, like the Donda listening sessions or the listening parties where it's like, wow, there's always a new 15-year-old that's becoming a fan. I think it's
a great point.
Special thing that happens. And I think it's something we haven't really seen in hip hop, but we've probably seen in like rock bands. I think that it's like Red Hot Chili Peppers in 2005. With "Hey, oh, this is what I say." New people were becoming fans, at that age. So, just a thought there, a little food for thought. Now, the next song is "Never Been." Mm-hmm. This is produced by, who do we got for this one?
Let's see. Never Been's been produced by Sledgerin as well.
Bringing back some Sledgerin.
No, it uses the Chrono Trigger sample. So there was an amazing game on the Super Nintendo called Chrono Trigger by Squaresoft at the time. And there's a theme, it's called Shala's theme for one of the for within the game. And the sample and the way that it uses it is so beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite game samples used in rap music for sure. Just because oftentimes when game samples are used, it tends to be corny. It tends to be something generically Mario, or something so well known. But there's some instances like this, or J. Cole sampling a Kingdom Hearts theme for I think it was $1 in a Dream Part 3. Little things like that when it's more subtle games, it doesn't have to be obscure, but when it's a more obscure piece of that in-game music and it's done right, where it doesn't feel like a big homage to gaming.
Right.
That's a good way. It's perfect, yeah. And I think Never Been really executes that well. Let's get to it.
Right into it. This is Never Been.
Sledge Row.
Jack's thinking now we're having look up to the Taylor gang, rolling up the paper planes. Kush and orange juice, nigga. Sledge Row. Yeah. 501 young. Who's talking that, but they don't want none. What up, Will? Yeah, bitch. I'm high, so I said it like that.
Just kind of fun fact here. I don't know if you knew this, but you hear the references of a will on multiple songs, right? This is actually in reference to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, right? He actually did a show. He used to do a lot of shows in Philadelphia. And there was a period where Will Smith was spending a lot of time in Philadelphia. Happened to very early on, like when he was doing like smaller clubs, happened to come in and pop in and check it out. Just want to see what was going on in the city, right? West Philly, right? And actually went backstage and got the highest he's ever been with Wiz at one of the shows. So when he's like just kind of, and it was like almost like in the process of recording this album. So when he's referring to "What's Up, Will," it's like just a shout out to like, you know, he's gonna say his last name. He's gonna put him on blast. Like, it's like a sort of shout out to like, you know, that moment that they shared. You know,
That's hella funny, yeah.
that's just like a little fun fact that you guys.
He knows Will got crossfaded.
He does. You know, Will was in the club from the
Oh,
beginning
to the end until the sun was up. Dancing to Say
Empty
Yeah.
bottles of Clico and ashes on the floor. Towel under the dope. We wasn't supposed to even smoke. I ain't tripping, never slip or slacking on my pimping. Drop the nerd you with, come smoke a joint with he who's winning. Ain't like them guys who wine and dine and keep their women. My bitches only want two things, that's to get high and kick it. Try my pop prescription, take a couple shots with lemon. Usually have to watch a movie to see how I'm living. Yeah, so what's the hold up? Way to bring the bottle, get them easy waters rolled up. Self-made G, did everything on my own, bruh. In my early 20s, with money as wide as Oprah.
Crack another bottle, get the weed rolled up. And girl, you know I got it, everything's on us. I get a lot cause I'm getting bankroll. And they follow me anywhere that my plane goes.
Say she never been. Say she never been. Say she never been.
I'm getting bankroll. And they follow me anywhere that my plane goes.
Say she never been. Crack a window, we gon' smoke this endo. Saying that you still high from last night. You try to pass, trying to beware of the fast life. Kick it with the planes and it'll be your last flight. Yeah, OG hash, let you stumble to class right. The sex great, no I don't give her no half pipe. Housekeepers knocking, we don't let them in. Rolling doobies up, room with a jacuzzi tub. Say she never been in the game, I am a veteran. After we fuck, roll the doctor prescribed medicine. Let you hit it once, then you sleeping. A fly nigga traveling the world, taking your girl for the weekend.
Crack another bottle, get the weed.
Now, I will say an early winner right now for my favorite Wiz reference is, and, you know, he kind of bridged those from the first verse to the second verse, right? Early on in the first verse is just a clear admittance to, you know, here we're at the hotel, right? Me, you know, some friends, some girls, right? We're not supposed to smoke here. But you know what? Just throw a towel under the door. Like, we're not supposed to. We're probably going to get fined. It says no. It's clearly no smoking. Girl, see, when have referenced it that way, right? And they put the towel down there. It sounds like no other measures, just the towel itself, right?
And then the second verse, crack a window, we gonna smoke this window.
Well, he had to, because in a few more bars, the cleaner of the room, I forgot the word that was, the maid.
The housemaid knocking, we don't let him in.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
Right, and you know why she's knocking. He didn't finish his story, but he's like, because now they're like, somebody called and it was like, dude, I smell weed or whatever. They're trying to figure it out. But because in the beginning of that verse, when they cracked the window, that was the giveaway. Because from the outside,
but now they're smelling that shit.
The smoke is coming out. They knocked on it.
That has to be it.
That's so far. That's my. And you know what? Shout out to Wiz for admitting. You know, players fuck up too. And,
it's okay. You know, it's a hotel room. You do as you wish sometimes.
Right. You know, he decided to take that chance though. Not everybody would. Yeah. A little daring. Shout out to Wiz.
I like how he just like put a towel underneath the door and was initially hoping that would take care of everything.
That was it.
That was it.
And you know,
then he realized it's boxing up, so he cracks the window. It's bad.
And then that he sent smoke signals at that point,
coming
right
out
outside like a chimney.
The poor housemaid just, hello,
please,
no more smoking, please.
I agree. One of my, maybe it'd be a good, maybe for like YouTube or something, to do a series of favorite video game samples, because masterfully done. Like you said, it didn't feel so video games, comparatively to the intro to, no, it wasn't video games, but the intro to Lost and Found had that Spider-Man that was like right on the fucking nose. I think this one was great. Sledgerin, once again, he's right now looking like the Shoddy Red.
Oh, he absolutely is, right, yeah.
Not just carrying the sound, because everybody's kind of doing their own work and due diligence here, but definitely setting what we know is like the Wiz sound, the Kush and OJ sound.
Right, absolutely. What do we got next? Never
Next up.
Been? I mean, In the Cut, huh?
We have In the Cut, correct.
Produced by Cardo.
Produced by Cardo.
Yeah, getting his wings.
Cardo getting his wings for sure.
Yeah.
Right now competing for the Shawty Award
Yeah.
for this album.
Him and Sledren.
See how he does.
Niggas know. Taylor gang, sunshine or snow, them hoes running they best clothes. And I probably fucked your bitch, nigga. Real shit.
We never low, always we
Taylor
go,
gang
go.
or
We
die.
supposed to go. We supposed to go. We never low,
And that's till the end, nigga.
We supposed to go. Always keep
For life. This fly shit. That's what we live by. Get used to it.
Rolling doobies up. In the cut, rolling doobies up. In the cut, rolling doobies up.
Wake up, bake up, gotta get my cake up.
In the cut, rolling doobies up.
Choked out, loped out, blowing hella smoke out.
In the cut, rolling doobies up.
Rolling all this weed that I'm holding, thinking she hot before she even get the chance to smoke it. Blowing oh, she know my trees potent. Man at home, you living for the moment. Come to game, don't run it, I own it. Kush and orange juice be the components. Come to my crib, see money so big you can't fold it. So I live, she poured her a little gin, then rolled her another dude. Before she was finished, man, freaky Sheena got super loose.
We never low, away we go. We supposed to go. We supposed to go. We never low, away we go. We supposed to go. Always keep one roll. I keep one roll. I keep one roll. I keep one roll. I keep one roll.
In the cut, rolling doobies up. In the cut, rolling doobies up. In the cut, rolling doobies up. In the cut, rolling doobies up.
Wake up, bake up, gotta get my cake up.
In the cut, rolling doobies up.
Choked out.
What's your thoughts on this one?
I like it a lot. I was thinking to myself whether this or Never Been has to be my favorite track off this album. I think it might be. It depends on the day, I guess. It's this or that any given day.
What about this one is, I think it's like the first one that you've kind of jumped into, like, I think this one's my favorite. What about this one did you
I really,
enjoy the most?
yeah, I really like the production. That little, I don't know what it is. Is it a violin or some shit? That like little synthy like thing that just kind of fades and looms over that. And I think the pitch that's used for the whatever they're sampling, or you know, where this voice says in the cut. Well, I think that's the perfect pitch. It doesn't sound like too babyish or Kanye Chipmunk sample, but it doesn't sound like, it sounds very unique. And I think it's a great hook, all of it. Admittedly, his verses are somewhat weaker compared to like some of the other verses that he's dropped throughout this mixtape. But at least his flow is still good, which makes up for a not so strong lyrical verse. But yeah, no, top notch work.
I think what we're kind of finding right now too is there's not many hooks he's missed on.
Yeah, no, he
He's
knows
really
how to make good music. Yeah.
And you know, you go back to some of those early mixtapes and albums, like you go to like Flight School, Deal or No Deal, where he was kind of finding his place. The sound kind of started getting more popish. I think Currency kind of brought it into what we kind of now know. It's like kind of do this with, you know, with your sensibilities of that. But I think it's like it really just shows through that like the hooks are excellent every single time. It's one of those that, and you know, there's so much nostalgia attached to it too. You know, I think that it brings me back, specifically a lot of these songs bring me back to Ryan's Old Pad, MLP's, and because I had to be around the time that this was coming out.
Right.
And, it felt like because we were, and it kind of brings back to how important this was, because I could have gotten a car with you. I could have gotten a car with, Timo, with, whomever. And this is probably going to come up at, one song or whatever. But this is very nostalgic for me. But just, it can only be that meaningful if I think it's the hook is this good. And I think the hook is really good on this one.
I agree. And I think it was this project that really established Wiz 2 in our eyes. And by ours, I mean like amongst the group of our friends. Just because prior, even back in the How Fly days, it was always Currency, the superior rapper, plus Wiz, his buddy, that's also a cool rapper, but he's not the Currency.
Right.
But I think once this dropped, it like really put it up there that, hey, Kush and OJ could potentially be the better project out of between what Wiz and Currency dropped. And in 2010, they both dropped a great project. I think I personally like Pilot Talk more because I was always a bigger Currency fan. But this really established that, like, no, I'm not just Spitta's buddy or like the other rapper. Like,
that's a really good point, because I think it's easy in hindsight to be like, Wiz and Currency. But you're right. That was not the case at the moment. And it felt like more Currency putting Wiz on.
We were listening to How Fly because of Currency, not because of Wiz.
Right. And that... I know they weren't on the same label or anything like that, but from that How Fly, Kush and OJ Pilot Talk run is a fantastic 3-run, like hip hop historical, type of thing. And I think that what I like about doing this show is I feel like everybody has, we kind of grew up on Jay-Z albums or Nas albums. Even up to like Kanye albums being put in these historical contexts. These are the greatest hip hop albums of all time, and these are the greatest rappers of all time. This is the greatest songs of all time. But I think we've now kind of got far enough away from some of these projects to where we can put them in a proper historical context. I don't know how many people actually are doing that, but this was a real coming out party for Wiz, and that How Fly, that both of them with the mixtapes, the albums, all the mixtapes that Currency had, Pilot Talk 1, 2, 3, Cabin Fever, as you referred to, was really an important hip hop moment that was happening,
Yeah. Smokey Robinson dropped during the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And the halftime show, I think it was like Saints playing. And Super Bowl was in New Orleans that year too, in 2010.
It wasn't in it, but the Saints were in it.
Just the Saints,
Right,
okay,
right.
yeah. So, just so much good stuff between then. And I think it just kind of sucks that, I mean, I was mentioning how, I don't listen to new Wiz stuff. Same goes for Currency. He could drop something and I don't think I'll end up checking it out, honest to God, just because I know the music that he makes is not for me any longer, especially because in my opinion Currency's sound kind of digressed. I think he found a lane that he was just super comfortable with, that he knew was going to move units regardless, and he's going to have his fan base, so he just stuck with it. And it's kind of like day and night for me when I look at like mixtape month after month Currency, like Fast Times at Ridgemont Fly and all, Fear and Loathing in New Orleans to like what it is today. One album I have been meaning to check out, just because I hear so much about it, is Alfredo with Currency, Freddie Gibbs, and Alchemist, right?
Madlib.
Nah.
Was it Alchemist? Or no,
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Wait, Alfredo might be just Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs, because Alfredo.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Yeah.
was that the one with Currency too?
I want to say Currency was on quite a few songs. I don't think it was
Fetty
Fetty,
is
yeah.
Currency,
And-
Freddie Gibbs, and I think Alchemist, right? Yeah,
right.
Fetty. I need to check out Fetty. Did you?
I didn't, but
Okay.
that would be a good one to check out.
I think so too.
I think that Alchemist always did really good work
Yes.
with Currency.
Covert Coupe is really
Right,
good.
right,
Covert
definitely.
Coupe's really good. Yeah.
And I think I'm kind of in the same boat with Currency.
Yeah.
Just not for
I
me at this
know.
time of day,
Yeah,
But
it's
you know what?
unfortunate.
It would be
It's
it's
be Jets all day.
it would be worth throwing it on the background one of
Yeah.
these days. So
Yeah.
I might report back and see, because I do like Alchemist beats as well.
Yeah.
Now this is one that also one of your favorites here. Still Blazing.
Oh yeah,
right.
I like it. You know me, I like those. I notice I'm always picking the pseudo reggae songs. I chose Mo Fire for 2005.
That's true.
We gotta have like a little pseudo reggae on this one of these songs, but I don't know what it is with it about it. And I mean, what better person to rap about weed over a pseudo reggae song than
It makes
Khalifa?
sense.
Yeah.
Right. Who's produced by?
Let's see. It samples another song that's I believe also called still Serm Style.
Serm Style. Okay.
Who this is a British producer, I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
This is Still Blazing. This is the book club.
His flow on this song is pretty dope too.
Usually I make a weed song. So here go a weed song. Usually I make a weed song. So here go a weed song. Why can't everyone just smoke like me? Just give me a quiet place and let me roll my weed. Well, ain't nobody in my business, don't nobody gotta know. Let all your conscience go and blow it by the O. I'm here, but my mind's gone. And it's getting hard to see you cause my eyes low. Marijuana minutes, nigga time slow. On the Kush clock, it's always time to smoke. Say I look high, I say I'm high, bro. Still blazing, no one with me, just facing. I remember days when I could only smoke on occasions. I couldn't wait to go and cop from random. Rolling blunts of 50, stuck in my mom's basement. Had drove for sale, but niggas was smoking haze then. Blew a O a day then. Don't know, but somehow I made a way. And nigga, them bills need paid, but I'm full.
All right.
Now I will say here.
Lucy used to blow an O a day then.
Now
That's a lot.
a day then. How much do you think that was?
I was
Street
probably
value.
at least 300 an O.
At least a day.
But he's getting it on a daily basis, so he probably has a better plug. So let's just say he gets a discount, $250.
At that point, and that's $250 every day. That comes out to about what?
2,000 or $1,750.
$1,750, which is about $7,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, I like
So-
that he. Well, one, he tells us. I don't know how
It
he-
actually exactly is. Holy shit!
7,000.
Yeah, it is 7,000. Yeah, we got it's just the book club, but we're good with numbers too. Damn, bro,
$7,000 a month.
on
And-
weed.
You know, he was saying, like, you know, he was struggling at that time, and he was talking about the bills right after, right? What was his income to be? Okay, so he had to be
7,000
copping
is
by
a
the pound,
lot.
right?
He had to
So
make it cheaper.
maybe it's $150. That's still a lot.
Wait. Later on, he goes on to say in this same song, 400 a zip. That's what I'm on. Do you recall that
I
line?
do remember that. So now we're talking about $2,800 a week. 56. So we were wrong. That's about $11,200 a month.
It is 11,200.
Which is
I'm loving the quick math.
about $130,000 a year. That's six figures. That is
Insane.
a Google engineer, high level management
Insane.
on weed a year.
You're smoking an O. Like you're smoking that whole thing, so I don't even know when you have time to do anything else. And he mentions we had bills to pay even then or something along the lines of that. So it's not as if it's just luxury. Like he also has to worry about like T-Mobile hollering at him.
Right.
Like who's paying
Right.
Comcast. It wasn't
Right.
Xfinity then, it was Comcast
The
back in these
Geico
days.
bill.
Shit like
like
that,
that,
bro. He
right.
probably has a few credit cards and
That's a
It's a cycle because you see, he gets all these bills. It stresses him out. He smokes more. He smokes more, spends more money on the weed. The bills add up. So the bills add up. Now he goes smoke.
he's smoking more weed, right?
And now the bills are going up.
And we have to talk about
It's tough.
too.
This is
like
his
you
cry
said,
for help.
It is.
I don't even like
If
the
I've
song no more.
Ever heard one? Still blazing absolutely because he's breaking it down. He's letting you know, and he's saying, and one thing
Holy
that
shit.
I'm sure you caught too was. He's saying, basically, these were the times when he wasn't smoking as often as he is now.
Yeah.
Because now he's blazing all day, and he's like, man, I remember the times when it was just an O a day.
This is correct. Yeah.
Now, to smoke a O a day, I feel like you have to be doing, and this is no offense to Wiz. Wiz, come on the book club, clear this up for us, because I feel like there has to be a lot of wasting weed. I feel like you have to be rolling almost an eighth in a blunt every single time, and then you're smoking 8 blunts of an ounce. Now, probably people are coming over, you're sharing, everybody, but at least an eighth in a blunt. And that's not even, is it a blunt? Is it a joint at this point? Maybe back in the day it was a blunt.
Sure.
But you're putting 2, what those used to be called, where you put like the 2 swishers together.
Oh, double Dutch? Was that called a double Dutch?
Something like that. We had to get the correct. If you guys know, let us know. But he had to be doing an eighth in a blunt every single time, and people always say it's like a waste of weed. So maybe looking back, he could have been a little bit more economical with his weed to not have to spend $11,000 a month on them.
Just to smoke an O a day. At that point, he's not even getting high anymore.
No.
There's tolerance. Like the tolerance level is so high that he's just constantly doing it, probably out of habit.
And you're right. I'm right there with you. Could be a cry for help on the low. Just saying. I mean, when somebody, it seems like somebody concerned came to him, it was like, "Hey, man, you look a little high," and maybe he was like trying to go into the direction of like,
he's like,
how much
"I'm
you were
high,
smoking."
bro.
I'm high.
I'm high, bro. The best part is, like it goes in one ear and out the other. Somebody comes up to him and says, "You look high." I say, "I'm high, bro." Like, yes, but that was not what was.
I wasn't gonna go somewhere else. See, I think he because when you look at like key things of addiction, right, and it's like maybe you expect him to kind of like, no, I'm not high.
Yeah.
But when he's just saying, I'm high, bro.
I'm high. Tears coming down.
Bro, I'm high right now. Can you finish this with me? I need to smoke an ounce
a day.
Or maybe he was just one of the greater literary geniuses in our time and just worked best.
Well,
high the whole time, and maybe we wouldn't have got the Wiz today if he wasn't smoking it. So even though it was an $11,000 bill,
worth it, because look at how much he's making now.
Right, exactly. So maybe it was just good investment. He bet on himself, and
doubled down. Wow, I dig that. I should be smoking more weed.
This next one here is the whole time. Was I playing that? I might have been. Oh no, I didn't open this side. This next one is we got our last 3. Mm-hmm. This is the one with our features. Mm-hmm. Right. First feature is not one that I expected, even when I first heard it.
Yes.
It's called "We're Done." We're gonna jump right into it.
Let's get it. Camp Rock.
Chase this cheese. Started from nothing, ended up with everything. From the house to the whips, taking trips any place that you care to name. Champagne, skydiving, easy wider papers, no blunt to the ones you mile high. Grinding now, I'm living how I'm supposed to. Laughing at you haters like I told you. I just tell the waitress keep pouring, get in front of the camera, keep posing. Too much bank to be rolled in, that's why I stay going till the cake gets swollen, and you just can't fold it, or it's old and molded, and the crust get golden. Yeah, Taylor gang over everything. We're gonna keep chasing this paper. tonight cause you say my life is exciting. Wake up still drunk, not going to work cause you like it. Living with no regrets, buying more bottles while we got ones I ain't even open yet. Notice that first all you wanna talk about your boyfriend. Now every time he calling you ignoring him. Somewhere tasting trees, cat and mouse. You chase me, I'll chase this cheese while we're young. One.
Now, hear me out, because I think one of the first moments that we've had in book club history where I think we caught a piece of continuity that maybe the general public didn't catch.
Yes.
That's why you come and watch the book club, because we break this down for you, right? Now, remember when he had said in this song, referring to a young lady that he's, having some kind of relations with, right? Courting. And he was like, at first, when your boyfriend used to call, you used to always pick up the phone, essentially, right? Now when he does, you ignore him. You know who also had a woman he was courting and had issues with that we just found out recently?
Lil Wayne?
Mr. Kid Cudi.
Oof.
And from that point, we seen that he wasn't trusting these women anymore.
That's right, where the incel tendencies began.
I believe, allegedly, I believe it was Wiz on the other end, and we had a
Cudi on the other end.
Correct. It was Cudi on the other end of this, and really what Cudi and Wiz were able to write as they were putting these together, probably sending each other notes like, "Hey, I think these kind of come together, and they're both sides of the coin here."
You tell me this is like Same Girl 2010?
Same Girl 2010. Oof. 2 different albums, 2 different mixtapes.
Wow.
But,
wow.
And Wiz is, let's respect Wiz here in the sense of like, he's seen that. He was kind of like weirded out. He was like, damn, like, you really going to do him like that? Doesn't even know it's Cudi at that point. But like, damn, you really going to do him like that?
You used to talk to him a lot.
Right.
You don't speak to him no
he
more.
was concerned with her.
Yeah.
So good guy Wiz,
Wiz does not like hoe tendencies whatsoever, and she was exhibiting signs of hoe tendencies.
Absolutely. As he was looking to quarter, and we saw on the other end how that ended up for Mr. Mescudi over there. Interesting sample on this. Now, I do remember kind of reading somewhere, right, that during that time when Wiz was smoking over there, right, this is before it got big and everything. One of the channels that he did get on that TV, because he tried to keep his bills down because the weed bill was pretty high, right?
Skyrocketing.
Happened to be Disney Channel. Used to get high and watch, I think it was Camp Rock, right? Heard this song, middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., calls up Sledgerin and is like, hey, I got an idea. This is a sample we have to do. I'm going through this situation with this girl. She's kind of acting weird right now, right? Like, I gotta make a song. They sampled it. Sample wasn't good enough, right? Demi Lovato came in to reprise her vocal. I don't know if you heard about this. Yeah. Reprise her vocals on this. This isn't even a sample. It's actually a feature. That's why it says featuring Demi Lovato on that. Right. Or else it just would have been the samples.
Do you know what age she was around this time?
I believe at this point she was about 22, 23. They actually got her from tour, right? She was touring, she was post Disney, and she was her people were surprised, like, wow, like Camp Rock, like that was like the the Disney show. Sure, they were kind of off guard, but they wanted like the proper vocals to go down, so they flew her into Pittsburgh, actually.
Do you think she blazed with Wiz?
From what I hear. She blazed with them, and she was actually there for a lot of the making of Kush and OJ.
Oh.
So, as the story goes, allegedly, in that show in Philadelphia, the joint rotation is Wiz Khalifa, Chevy Woods, Demi Lovato, Will Smith.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit. What about Sledgerin?
Sledgerin actually had to go DJ at an after party somewhere else.
Shit.
So he actually couldn't. But he got the text like, what?
Like, what do you mean? Will Smith? Can y'all wait?
If y'all have a better dream rotation, joint rotation than what
That's a good one.
actually took place, like, hey, that's just the story. Allegedly, as it went
Yeah,
down.
and I've read something similar. I knew she came to reprise it and she hung out with Wiz and all that. I did not know the exact order of the rotation. That's interesting.
No, I did hear Timo, and I believe that Timo was talking about Still Blazing.
Yeah.
Be Legit. Zach, at Zach's house.
Oh, Be Legit is when you put two of them
Be
together.
Legit.
Yeah, that's called the Be Legit.
That's
when
what
you
it
put two of them together.
was. It was a Be Legit. Hey, Timo, thank you.
Thank you.
We actually, because the sound is kind of having some issues, we're going to do one more song before we wrap this out. This is Glass House.
Let's do. That's the one to do.
We're going to jump in now. We're going to go out on this one. Is there any kind of feelings you have on Kush and OJ? We've
Great
covered so far?
album. Great mixtape, rather. Again, we were spoiled with so much good music around this time, and Kush and OJ is really one of the cherries on top when it comes to that, Fairfax era rap. Yeah, it's timeless. Honest to God, it's something I could see myself going back to in a decade from now. For real.
I think that it's timeless is a great word to put to it, and it has to be how older hip hop fans probably thought of Doggy Style when it came out. I'm not like comparing them in any other kind of weird way, debate it with your mama. But I think that for us, it's like you can always put this on, and for I think a lot of maybe about 5 years older than us and 5 years younger than us, I think he kind of covered this like generational almost, to where you put on Kush and OJ, and there's still people who are checking for Wiz Khalifa to this day. If you were to play, this has been a popular one in the chat. Like they've been looking for this one. So to send you guys out. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna ask. You know what you get when you mix Doggy Style with Kush and OJ?
What do you get?
Mac and Devin go to high school.
That's exactly what you get.
That's what you get. Sometimes you just can't mix stuff. Don't mix it.
We need to see if that is on dead ass series. Now that Wiz is in the canon, we need to see if that is on Amazon Prime, so we can do a watch with you.
I've never seen. I've listened to the soundtrack.
I've never seen it either.
I've never seen the movie though. That. There's a How High 2 as well.
No, I did not.
I think it's with Lil Yachty and someone else. I forgot who.
Yeah. You're
but
right.
It is Glass House.
We need to see Bugatti, Mac, and Devin. Have to watch it with you guys. We're gonna smoke a Wiz Khalifa eighth in a joint just for that one.
400 a zip.
400 a zip. You know what it is. This has been, I enjoyed it. I haven't listened to Kush and OJ in forever, it feels like. And it's still fun. It's fun. And, he sets it right off from the album cover, from the intro. And this is one of the better songs on there, too. And this is when everybody brings their best bars. It's like one of those posse cuts that we said happened a lot during that time.
Yeah.
And we actually did, because it was Fat Raps. Was it Fat Raps?
Yeah.
And we didn't actually mention this one as one of the better posse cuts, but this one was great.
Yeah, I agree.
Big Currency
and Wiz, it's an amazing one.
This has been the book club. We're gonna send you out with the final song. You guys take care. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Don't you wanna risk that ass in this class? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this class?
Niggas got shows to get to and shit.
Risk that ass in this glass house. If you ain't sucking, I fucking get your ass out. Don't you wanna risk that ass in this class? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this class? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this class? If you ain't sucking, I fucking get your ass out.
Dash digital situation critical. Hate to make it so blatant, baby, but I ain't playing. Maybe you got me confused with one of them other dudes. I ain't none of them under their breath mumbling. Scared to tell them hoes what it is. You put yourself in that position. I chill with all that baller fishing. You fucked around and you caught a shark. Cold heart, tear your feelings apart. I'm more focused on getting my rounds powder coated. One of the dopest, I'm schedule one, you just ibuprofen. What is you smoking? Them bogus growers, they got you choking. The options open, you can hide with them suckers or ride low and get higher than the motherfucker. Yeah.
Wanna risk that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this glass house? If you ain't sucking, I fucking get your ass out. Don't you wanna risk that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna risk that ass in this glass house? If you ain't sucking, I fucking get your ass out.
Straight stuntin', sucker niggas I take from them. They bitches that is. Get up in the car with Wiz, they know they gon' bake something. Ain't frontin', smoke it off the 8th onion. Get it twisted cause you see me on your computer screen. Thinking cause you got wireless, you get high as us. Bitches leaving they lame niggas to ride with us. Planes over everything in the fly we trust. Just by the smell it's obvious. Then my connect come from Cali, I'm good long as the money piling up. All the while I'm just quick lane dipping, big chain twisting, walking how I talk it, bitch, that's Pittsburgh pimping.
Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass?
Bitch.
Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass house? If you ain't sucking the fucking get your ass out. Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass? Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass house? If you ain't sucking the fucking get your ass out.
I was candy coated, been in corners, feel, willing, made a killing with the bumper, grilling, chandelier, ceiling flush, linen. Is you fucking, is you sucking? I was wondering, cause if not, don't be pushing on my buttons and my cutters unless you couldn't. Bitch, I'm just saying, I ain't tricking, it's the reason that this porno flick, playing trunk, shaking, knocking pictures off the wall. Southern maiden call, 808, me no draws. You got real, I fuck them all. What you mean you ain't nasty? Why the fuck you came? Just imagine what you got to do to get up in my planes. Mississippi pimp, mouthpiece, frigid, dolomite, out of sight, show you right, can you dig it, shout it?
Don't you wanna rest that ass in this glass? Don't you